beautiful, strong, grand air trine. The sleep, the dreams, the fantasy, the sci-fi, the make-believe, the Hollywood, the music, and the sound, right? The sensitivities, high levels of sensitivities. What have I been talking about, right? So because it's a possibility and a chance to dream big, what I love about this is that we have this new moon power, but when we speak deep about new moon energy, it is the ability. I have a video that I did a long time ago, and I need to do an update on it because I did it back, like I think in 2019, but it breaks down the energy of why setting intentions, like how does it work? Well, it has to involve your emotions, and that's where the moon comes in. So I can feel it in my bones type of thing. Like, I really want to bring this into my life. This is really important to me. And I really value this thing, right? I have a desire for this particular thing or whatever it is you're trying to bring into your world. Then we have to have the energy of those emotions because that's the fuel, but we also have to have our willpower. You have to have that mixture of your willpower and your emotions. And it's the sun that represents our willpower in our chart and the moon that represents our emotions. So it's that combination of the two. And we are having this new moon in Leo, so it amps up the willpower energy. So because Venus is also part of this and it's at a critical degree, desires, possibly banking, income. How am I making my money? Money in the bank. What do I do for income? What do I value? Who do I value? Are children part of my creative process? Do I want children? What do I view as my child? Because we all, to some degree, there's a lot of us that there are people or animals, furry friends that we take care of as though we're their mom. Right? And so it's that same energy. It's that same energy. Remember, the moon is how we nurture. This is emotions and emotional stability, emotional satisfaction, the moon, the past and the history and the feelings, the moon, mother and nurturing and family energy, the moon, with the sun, masculine energy. I'm the boss. I'm in charge. I'm the authority figure. What I say goes. This is the willpower. Right? This is the willpower. The authority is the sun. So that mixture of that energy and the Leo energy, all the Leo keywords. Look for where this is in your chart. We're going to give this a degree of 2 degrees. So that means 10 degrees of Leo. We'll set this at 10 degrees of Leo. And then we're going to go all the way. We're going to go to, 14 degrees, we'll say. If you have something, though, at like 15 and 16, this also might be relevant for you because we have Vulcan there. So we'll just, technically, I'm just going to say 10 to 14 degrees of Leo energy is where the new moon is beginning. So as an example on this chart, I can see that this 12 degrees happens in the 5th house of this chart. If this was my chart, it's a re-emphasizing of more Leo energy, 5 degrees, right? The 5th house is Leo. So it's saying you're having a new moon in Leo in the house of Leo. It is compounded energy. It reinforces, it's stacking Leo energy on top of Leo. It's super extreme because it's an immense amount of Leo. It is going to be quite dramatic because the 12 degrees can be dramatic and the Leo energy can be dramatic. And Venus is at 29 of Leo. And when Leo is acting extreme, it goes over the top. It's very dramatic energy. It can be that king of the jungle where it's roaring and it expects everyone to bow down to it. Like, I'm the big boss, I'm in charge, and I am above all laws. I can do no wrong type of energy. It can be that. Remember, Venus associated with values. Okay. So we back the chart up a little bit. And some of the other things that are happening is you see the south node is at 8 degrees. Remember, I started talking about 8 in the Lion's Gate. Well, here we are. We're entering August, and this new moon on the 4th. So 4 days later, we will have August 8th. So not only will it be the 8 Lion's Gate that's coming up, but we're going to have the nodes at 8 degrees. It's just 4 days away, you see. So the nodes here are exactly at 8 degrees, right? Exactly at 8. Now, the 8-degree energy is change on a deep level. Change on a deep level because it's a south node in Libra, and relationships, possibly professional partnerships. It is a release for sure because it's the south node. On a deep level, emotions may be involved, history and the past. We think of diplomacy, and we think of, our global foreign affairs, diplomacy, big time. But in your world, what does this mean? Are you changing alliances? Are you changing allegiances? Is there people that used to be like within your group for whatever that was? It could simply be like business partnerships, and this thing ended, right? It's no longer a partnership. It's just not working anymore, or it was a contractual thing, meaning it had a beginning and an end date. Well, now it's ending and it's closing out. There's something deeply changing here, though, in this partnership energy. Because it's Venus that rules this, you see, because Venus is a co-ruler of Libra energy. That's why we're looking at Libra and the fact that we've got a south node at 8 conjunct Black Moon Lilith. South node goes down in numbers because it goes backwards. Black Moon Lilith is in black, so she's going forward. So in essence, where they're at is important. Relationships, partnerships can be marriages, right? And then we think of the scales of justice, judicial system, lawyer energy, law, the courtroom, freedoms and equality. Freedoms and equality. The moon's nodes, more feminine energy here. And the war on women, God forbid. Like, it's getting very real. They're going after, you can't use contraception anymore. Holy shit. What next? My God, it's just getting beyond crazy. So that Libran energy has a trine to it. A few days before, Mars would have been trining the south node. You see that? An air trine with Mars. Mars is now at 9 here. Mars is at 9. But we all see the white moon Lilith. So this white moon Lilith is trining the south node. So it makes it easy for a release to occur. We see the logic in it. Gemini. It makes sense. Gemini. We understand something we didn't understand before because this is dual energy. Right? It's the contrast. It says, well, what a contradiction. I believe this, but I believe this, or I can understand how that can be the thing. We're considering something we didn't consider before. And with Mars there and, Jupiter, of course, at 15, and Jupiter being judges in the Supreme Court, values and your rights, literally your civil liberties. Other people are literally trying to change laws so that you have no rights left. They've been doing it little by little, piece by piece, and they've been making headway. And so it's getting to the point where not enough people are paying attention that their rights are being stripped from them. And if you don't insist that they represent you, they are demonstrating how they are ruling over us. So this is a time where some of the things that are happening, we just need to be aware. And Gemini is all about learning and paying attention and considering things you didn't consider or didn't know or didn't want to learn before. It's observing, but yet intake. I'm taking and gathering the details of information. Jupiter, justice. Along with this chart, we have an opposition with Juno and Virgo. Juno and Virgo is right there. The jobs market. We think of the tasks, the day-to-day routines. We think of health. This is strong domestic energy. These are servants. These are the silent workers. Anybody in the service industry, Virgo energy, 28 degrees. Strong opposition with, on this day, at this time, part of fortune, Pisces, Interesting, because Pisces energy, this is a new moon that has a strong Pisces vibration. But I just want to also point out here too at this time is the North Node fire at 8 degrees. You see that? The North Node at 8. So when we see that North Node at 8, again, change, and transformation on a very deep level. Aries energy is our rights, our civil liberties, our body autonomy. Body autonomy. How are you going to tell me I can't use birth control? Holy shit. Aries has this very fight energy. It gets angered easily. It has very little patience. It wants to move quickly. It wants to be first. It always has this feeling that it's in a race. It's a lot about the ego when it's really young and immature, which, by the way, it takes many, many years. Remember, Aries, a fine wine, takes a long time to mature, to see beyond itself, right? It goes from the me to we. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to grow up our Aries energy. At 8 degrees, change on a deep level. Healing is possible also at 8 degrees. Healing the past is possible. And the moon's nodes, holy shit, all about the past. Now, let's go to the big trine I got in the chart, 4 degrees Mercury, because Mercury is my mind. It's your mind. It's what we're talking about and thinking about. So when you're making a new moon, you're using your mind. Like when you're having and setting an intention, you're using your mind. You're like, well, what do I want to set my intentions on? What's important to me? What do I need? What do I want to bring into my life? What do I want to see come into my world, right? So we're using our mind, Mercury energy, and it's loaded with details because it's in Virgo. So just keep that in mind about the details. Keep that in mind, and that there is a very strong earth trine. So this Mercury wants stability. It's in the job energy, J-O-B, Virgo, the day-to-day routines and tasks, and this Mercury is going to keep it rational and logical. Mercury rules Virgo. It's very strong here. So it's saying, I'm thinking about my future, but I'm also realizing the steps that are going to need to be involved for it to make sense. Because Virgo is all about all the little nuggets, all the little details to make it make sense. But it should be able to, all these dots should be able to connect to create the picture, to create the product that you literally want. So Virgo energy, maybe my health. Maybe it has something to do with pets. Maybe it's just about the job that I have, the health of the job that I'm in. This is also like the home healthcare aides and nurses, because health in general is Virgo, a lot of gut energy, right? How am I feeling? How does my gut feel? And the idea that your gut is like the first brain of the body type of thing, okay? And so Mercury being affected by the Virgo thoughts and being aware of the thoughts that you keep and how you feel. Have I been focused on negativity and the past, right? Or is Mercury more like, hey, enough of that already? Keep in mind with the Virgo energy, the practicality is beautiful. The practicality is what we need to be rational and grounded in reality to make this literally come true, to manifest this, is it can be striving for perfection. The only thing about that is it is okay to shoot for those stars. But many folks, when they can't get exactly what they want, when they want, how they want it, then it's like, hell no, either my way or the highway. They either give up on it or they destroy everybody around them. They destroy those relationships, or they just shit on everything. And I don't mean like, well, yeah, it could be physically, because it's, well, this is domestic pet energy. God knows Taffy leaves us plenty of nuggets all around the house. So this Virgo energy can, what's the word? It can do things and not realize that it's soured some relationships. And maybe it's not even about the relationships, but soured a dream, soured, a goal and an ambition, because it didn't match up to what my standards were, right? And sometimes the Virgo energy forgets. It truly does, because it's so focused on perfection. Remember, Pisces is at the end of it, at the other end, and it is so ideal, it's inhumane. It can't possibly be achieved. It thinks it can. But no humans can actually live up to that. It's not grounded in reality. And for as grounded in reality as Virgo is, that's its shortcoming, because it forgets that. And it ends up being way overly critical. So it has to learn to compromise. It has to learn to say, well, this is not my ideal. My ideal is this. So what would something below your ideal look like? Because we have to learn to kind of compromise, and we have to say, how do I wiggle? How do I do the workarounds? How do I figure out the other steps without just giving up, and without just, maybe bad talking or talking whatever the hell the overly critical stuff is, the nitpicking that happens, right? And we all have Virgo somewhere in our chart. So I can speak from experience. Like, I understand this energy. I'm not a Virgo sun. I'm not a Virgo rising, but I see in my life where there are many times, because I was so focused on the perfection and the ideal, that I completely lost sight of getting the project finished. I got lost in the damn details, or I destroyed the project because I was so overly critical and so focused on the minutia that the big goal, the big picture, was never achieved. You follow? So that's just kind of a little bit about how do we keep a balanced picture. And this Virgo, Mercury at Virgo at 4, and then we have Hygeia, money. Hygeia's in Taurus, values and banking. And this is where we get a look at the banking system. We're going to get a banking report card, not just on this day, for the entire time. We're also going to be getting a report card on our own values and priorities. There might be some reprioritizing going on, or we're going to get back on track with our money and our values, and hopefully with the earth itself, because this is Taurus energy. The trine energy is to ancestors, ANC. It's in Capricorn. So this can be government and corporations, and big business, because it's Capricorn energy. And the Capricorn energy, we think of long-term sustainable goals. What are we building for the future? So this is a very stable, and the possibility for a very grounded in reality new moon energy for you to have. New moons are a time of new beginnings. Where is the 12 degrees of Leo happening in your life? And how can you incorporate the mind, the Mercury mind in Virgo, with the other energy in Earth? And why is that important? Because it's about establishing long-term material security. My values, Taurus, the reality of those, and what are the steps that we got to take to achieve it? What are the details that get us to do the job, right? To do the job, the projects, the day-to-day tasks, and my own physical health too, my mind and my health. And then the goals and ambition, the paycheck that finally comes in, and what do we do with that paycheck? Because what are we building towards? What is our long-term goal? Sometimes it's considered a vocation. Capricorn energy, where is it in your chart? What are you building? This is a beautiful, strong, grand air trine for this new moon that keeps us grounded in reality, which means we're being realistic, even though there's a lot of strong Pisces energy. But it's the point of weaving. To me, I always see it and hear it as weaving the spiritual into the material and the material into the spiritual, because that's spiritual. That's Pisces energy. It's also, like I said, the dreams and the fantasy. But this is a time to utilize this energy and don't hold back. Remember, these new moons, it's not about all of a sudden it happens and it comes. All of a sudden you wake up in the morning and bam, you got your pot of gold sitting right there on the desk. No, it doesn't work that way. It's about incorporating steps, choices, options. That's Mercury, right? And Virgo, what kind of a job do I want? Is this job healthy for me, right? And flexibility is Mercury energy, big time. I got to stay flexible. I'm looking at all my options. The 8 hours before a new moon are considered very powerful times. They're considered the strongest times of the new moon. And so if you're going to have your intention setting, you might write something down, you might light a candle, you might have like a little ceremony. Utilize the 8 hours prior to the new moon time, 6:11 a.m. You want to do it when we are in the building phase of a new moon energy. If you can have that focus and you can visualize and have the emotions fueled with your willpower, then this can be a time of being the great creator of your own life. Thank you for your time. I always appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.